Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to unpack finding you the absolute best display for your gaming setup.
Yeah, whether you're on a PS5, an Xbox Series X, maybe a tricked-out PC rig.
The screen you use, it's not just a window, is it? It's like a core piece of hardware.
Totally. Getting it right can fundamentally change how a game actually feels to play.
Exactly. So we've been looking at a whole bunch of recent info expert takes, trying to figure out what makes a TV truly great for gaming.
Right, moving past the marketing fluff.
Right.
Our goal here is really pinpointing the features that actually make a difference on screen for you.
And honestly, this is where it gets exciting. We're talking about getting the best visuals, shrinking that little delay between button press and action, getting every edge, maximizing that immersion. It's really cool stuff.
Absolutely. So, okay, when you're looking at all those specs, what are the core things that separate a good gaming TV from a really great one? What should people prioritize?
Well, based on what we've seen, three things keep coming up as absolutely essential.
Okay, lay them on us. First, multiple HDMI 2.1 ports. And crucially, full bandwidth ports.
Yeah. You need those for the high resolutions and the high refresh rates from new consoles and PCs, right?
Exactly. And the analysis points out sometimes TVs say HDMI 2.1, but maybe only one or two ports actually have the full capability.
That's a huge catch. Because if you've got, say, a PS5 and an Xbox, or a console and a PC...
You need enough full-spec ports if you want 4K at 120 Hz with VRR on everything. Otherwise, you're swapping cables or losing features.
And don't forget, your soundbar often needs one for ERC.
Good point. It adds up fast. Okay, second big one, low input latency.
Right, this is that delay we talked about. Button press to screen action. How low do we need to go?
The general consensus is under 20 milliseconds is good. But for really competitive stuff, shooters, fighting games, you ideally want under 10 milliseconds.
Wow, that's quick. Does it really make a noticeable difference?
Well, absolutely. Think about it. 20 meters is like maybe a quarter of a frame at 120 hertz. 10 meters is half that. It sounds tiny, but you can feel it in responsiveness.
Yeah, that feeling is key, isn't it? Okay, so ports latency. What's number 3?
A dedicated gaming hub or game mode. These aren't just buzzwords anymore.
How so?
Well, they really streamline things. They often auto-optimize settings for the lowest lag, best picture for gaming. Some even build in cloud gaming platforms now, like Game Pass.
Huh, okay. So it takes the guesswork out.
Pretty much. Gets you peak performance without digging through menus.
Gotcha. So that's the core trio. What about other big specs people see, like refresh rate and the screen type itself?
Refresh rate is super important. For the PS5 and Xbox Series X, 120 Hz is really the target for 4K gaming. And you definitely want variable refresh rate or VRR.
Remind us quickly what VRR does again.
Sure. It syncs the TV's refresh rate with the game's frame rate. Basically, it stops that ugly screen tearing you sometimes see, making motion much smoother. And it does this without the input lag penalty you used to get with older VSync tech.
Nice. And what about 144 Hz? Seeing that more often.
Yeah, 144 Hz is popping up, which is fantastic, especially if you're a PC gamer pushing really high frame rates. But for consoles right now, 120 Hz is kind of the sweet spot.
Okay. And screen type, OLED gets all the buzz, but mini LEDs are strong now too.
Yeah, this is where you have some great choices. OLEDs, especially the QD OLEDs mentioned in the analysis, give you incredible picture quality. Perfect blacks, amazing contrast, vibrant color. Just stunning depth.
Sounds amazing for atmospheric games.
Totally. But mini LEDs are serious contenders, especially if you game in a brighter room. They can get much brighter, cutting through glare, making HDR really pop. And often they're a better value.
So it depends on your room and maybe budget a bit.
Exactly. Both are excellent options, just slightly different strength.
All right, let's name some names. Based on the analysis, what's considered the top dog right now? The best overall?
The one that consistently comes up is the Sony Bravia XR-A95L QD OLED.
Ah, the Sony. Makes sense with the PS5 connection.
Well, yeah, and it does have some neat PS5-specific features like auto HDR, tone mapping, but honestly, it's just an incredible TV for any gaming. Stunning QD OLED picture, 120 Hz, great VRR.
You mentioned those PS5 features. How much do they really matter for, say, an Xbox or PC user? Are they essential?
That's a fair question. The analysis suggests they add convenience and polish, especially for PS5 owners. Like, the auto HDR tone mapping means the TV and console talk perfectly for optimal HDR without fiddling.
So nice to have, maybe not need to have if you're not on PS5.
Probably, yeah. They add value, especially for ease of use, but maybe not enough to sway you if another TV matches the core specs for less. But, as the analysis notes, the A95L is a premium TV, an investment.
You get what you pay for, huh? So if that's a bit pricey, where's the sweet spot for value?
This is where those mini LEDs really come into play. The Hisense U7K mini LED gets a lot of praise for value.
What makes it stand out?
You get that mini LED brightness and contrast. 144 Hertz Game Mode Pro, which is great overhead, even if you mainly use 120 Hertz AMD FreeSync support for PC. And apparently the built-in sound is surprisingly decent for the price.
Oh, that is rare. What kind of price are we talking?
Around $800 or so for a 65-inch model based on the info we saw. Really strong value.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Any other value contenders? I think the TCL QM8 came up too.
Absolutely. The TCL QM8 mini LED is right there with it. It's known for being super bright, which is great if you have a sunny living room. Full VRR, ALM support.
ALM.
Auto low latency mode. It just automatically switches the TV to game mode when it senses a console or PC signal. Super handy.
Yeah.
The QM8 also has some quirky game features like an on-screen crosshair.
Okay. Input lag decent. Price.
Input lag is very good, around 13 meters mentioned. Price is competitive with the Hisense, maybe around $900 for the 65-inch. Another solid value mini LED.
Cool. Now, for folks chasing the absolute lowest lag, maybe PC gamers wanting 144 Hertz and OLED, the LG C series is always in that conversation. What's the pick there?
Yeah, the analysis points to the LG C5 OLED as maybe the best 144 Hertz option if you also want that OLED picture.
And the lag.
It's incredibly low, measured at just 9.1 meters in the analysis, plus you get that 144 Hertz VRR capability. LG also has a really detailed game optimizer menu for tweaking settings.
And they added Game Pass, right?
Yep, Xbox Game Pass is integrated into LG's platform now, so it's positioned as a great value within the OLED category, especially for low latency and high refresh rate needs.
Okay, one more area. Looking further out, is 8K gaming even a thing we need to think about yet?
Well, the analysis did touch on the Samsung QN900D Neo QLED 8K TV. It's definitely built for the future. 8K resolution, 144 Hertz refresh, really low input lag, even at 8K around 10.4 meters, and crazy high brightness, over 2,300 nits mentioned.
Oh.
Yeah. Plus Samsung's gaming hub with cloud gaming built in. But, and it's a big but, native 8K gaming content is still super rare, and the price is very premium.
So more of a tech demo for now.
Kind of feels like it. A glimpse of what's coming, but not a practical buy for most gamers today.
Right. Okay, so let's say someone's used all this info. They've narrowed it down. Any quick tips for choosing the right size or getting it set up properly?
Yeah, a couple of quick things from the research. Screen size. Think about your viewing distance. Too big up close is awkward. Too small, far away, loses immersion.
Makes sense.
Look at the design. Thin bezels are nice. Check where the ports are located. Are they easy to reach? Think about smart features if you use built-in apps a lot. And remember, there are good options across different price points.
And the setup itself. Anything crucial?
Yes. On your console, make sure 4K and HDR are definitely enabled. On the TV, find that dedicated game mode and turn it on. This is usually the most important step for low latency.
It often handles a lot of the optimization automatically.
Exactly. It disables extra processing that adds lag. Also, double-check HDR is active for your HDMI inputs.
Good tips. So, zooming out, why does digging into all these specs actually matter for the average gamer?
Because understanding the stuff, what low input lag feels like, how VRR smooths things out, the impact of refresh rate and panel tech, it empowers you to pick a TV that doesn't just show the game,
but helps you play it better and experience it more deeply.
Precisely. It's about getting the absolute most value and performance out of that expensive console or PC you already bought. It really completes the picture.
It's the final piece of the puzzle, unlocking what the hardware can really do.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Awesome. Well, thinking about all this cutting-edge tech, what game do you think will be the first to truly demand something like that 8K, 144 Hertz Samsung Beast we mentioned? Something to look forward to.
Ooh, that's a great question to ponder. Definitely something to keep an eye on.
For now, stay tuned for more updates, but don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.